My name's Eddie. I'm 38, an electrician working out of Springfield, Missouri. I've been doing this job for almost 15 years. Residential, commercial, emergency calls at night when someone smells burning behind a wall. It's not glamorous, but it pays the bills. I'm not the cleanest looking guy on the block. Hands always stained with grease, shirt half tucked, jeans faded, but people trust me when it comes to keeping their homes from catching fire. I usually keep my head down, do the work, take the money, and leave. But that Wednesday morning in late May was different. I had a call from a woman named Claire. Said she smelled something off near her laundry room panel and needed it checked before the weekend. Her voice on the phone was calm but polite, slightly rushed, like she was juggling 3 other things while booking the appointment. I showed up the next day around 10. She opened the door in a satin robe, long legs, blonde hair up in a bun, barefoot, and she smiled like she'd been expecting someone else. "You're the electrician?" she asked, tilting her head. "Yes, ma'am," I said, trying not to look at the slit in her robe that opened too far when she stepped aside. She showed me to the laundry room and said, "Take your time. My husband's at work. I've got the house to myself till 4. Something about the way she said that, it hung in the air. I told myself not to read into it. I opened up the breaker panel and started checking for burns, loose wires, anything out of place. 10 minutes in, she brought me a glass of cold lemonade. "It's hot in here," she said, leaning against the dryer. Her robe was looser now. I nodded, kept working, but my ears were burning. I'm not a guy who gets invited into many homes like that. I've seen housewives and curlers, kids running around, dogs barking like crazy. But this was quiet, almost too quiet. And she wouldn't leave the room. Just stood there, sipping lemonade, asking small questions about wires, heat, voltage, stuff she didn't really care about. Then she asked, "Do you ever get lonely doing house calls?" I didn't answer at first. She smiled and added, "I do." I looked up. Her eyes were locked on mine, and at that moment I knew exactly where this was heading.
I should have packed up right then. I should have tightened the last screw, closed the panel, and walked the hell out of that house. But I didn't. I stood up, wiped my hands on my jeans, and tried to play it cool. "You said something smelled off back here," I muttered, keeping my voice low. Claire tilted her head, smirked a little. "Maybe it wasn't the panel," she said. Her robe shifted again, slid off one shoulder like it had a mind of its own. She didn't fix it. I felt the air change in that little room. It wasn't about wiring anymore. I knew the signs. You don't work in people's homes for over a decade without catching on when someone's starving for attention. And Claire, she was practically begging without saying a word. I took a half step back, said something stupid like, "You married?" She laughed. Not a nervous laugh, a confident one. "Yeah, he's loyal to his job. I'm loyal to reality," she said. I didn't ask what that meant. I didn't need to. She stepped toward me, and for a second I told myself I was going to move, make some space, shift the energy. But I didn't. Her hand went to my chest. "You work with your hands," she whispered. I could smell her perfume now, soft, not overpowering, but close, too close. She didn't wait for permission. She kissed me. Soft at first, like she was testing me, then deeper, like she hadn't been touched in years. And I let her. My back hit the wall, tools still on the floor, breaker panel still open. Her robe was gone within seconds. I don't even remember how. Just skin, warm, desperate. I kept telling myself I shouldn't, that this was wrong, that I didn't need this in my life. But my body didn't listen. Hers did. She pulled me in like I was the only man she'd ever wanted. And in that moment, I wasn't thinking about right or wrong. I was thinking about her lips on my neck, her nails on my back, the way her breathing hitched every time I touched her just right. It wasn't love. It wasn't even lust in the usual way. It was escape. For her, for me, for both of us. And the worst part, I liked it. I wanted more. When it was over, we didn't speak for a minute. She sat on the washer, legs swinging slightly, robe draped over her lap now. "You're good at fixing things," she said. I was still pulling my shirt back on. "That was a mistake," I said. But even as I said it, I didn't believe it. "Maybe," she replied, "but not one I regret." I didn't know then what would come next, but I knew it wasn't over. Not even close.
The next morning, I told myself it was a one-time thing, just a moment of weakness. People mess up, it happens. I figured Claire would ghost me after that, pretend nothing happened, or maybe just give me an awkward nod the next time I came by the neighborhood. But nope, that's not what happened. Not even close. 3 days later, I got a text from an unknown number. No greeting, no name. Just one sentence. "Something's leaking again. Same address." My stomach flipped. I knew damn well she wasn't talking about plumbing. I should have deleted it, blocked the number, gone to church. Instead, I tossed my wrench kit in the truck and drove over like a moth to a flame. Her husband's car was gone, again. She answered the door wearing jeans this time, but no bra under her tank top. Her nipples told me everything I needed to know before she even opened her mouth. She just smiled and said, "You brought the right tools?" I didn't even pretend to check the pipes. She didn't pretend to care. We barely made it to the kitchen counter. No words, just hands, mouths, heat. We were animals, hungry, reckless, greedy. And that was the beginning of something much worse than an affair. It was an addiction. Weeks passed. I started finding excuses to be in her area. She'd text me during lunch breaks, late at night, even when her husband was upstairs watching TV. She didn't care. I stopped being her electrician. I became her escape, her fantasy, her dirty little secret. But it wasn't just sex. That's what made it dangerous. She started talking to me afterward about her life, her marriage, the dreams she gave up, the nights she cried herself to sleep. And I listened. That was my real mistake, because listening made it real, human, messy. She told me he never touched her anymore, that he worked too much, that he hadn't looked her in the eyes during dinner in months. And I believed her. God help me, I believed her. I started seeing her not as someone else's wife, but as a woman I wanted to save, as someone who needed me. One night, after we had finished, she rested her head on my chest and whispered, "I think I'd leave him if I knew you'd catch me." My throat closed up. I didn't answer. I couldn't, because I didn't know if I wanted to catch her or just fall harder with her. That was the night I knew I'd crossed a line I couldn't uncross.
It was bound to fall apart. I knew it. I felt it. Every time I stepped into her house, I was tempting fate. Every moan, every kiss, every whispered "next time" was a countdown. But when it finally happened, it hit harder than I ever imagined. It started with a missed text. She'd messaged me in the morning. "He's leaving for a conference. Noon. Come after." I never replied. I was swamped, knee-deep in a real job, wiring an old ranch house across town. Didn't even check my phone until after 2 p.m. By the time I got to her street, something felt off. Her husband's car was still in the driveway. I parked a block away, waited, texted once, no answer. But I was stupid, cocky. I figured maybe he just left the car to be picked up later. I walked up, toolbox in hand, like always, and rang the bell. Claire opened the door. She looked pale. Tight smile. "He's home," she mouthed. But before I could turn around, I heard it. "Who's at the door, Claire?" His voice, firm, close. She stepped back. I froze. Then it all happened in a blur. He appeared behind her, a tall guy, mid-40s, salt and pepper hair, gym-built but tired-looking. He looked at me, then down at my toolbox, then back at me. He didn't say anything for a long beat. Just stared. Then, "You the guy who fixed the dryer last time?" Claire's eyes begged me not to screw it up.
Yeah, I said. Came to check something. She said it was making noise again. He didn't blink. Funny. It hasn't made a sound since the last time you were here. In fact, I don't think anything's been broken in this house, except maybe my trust. Claire gasped, "David!" But it was too late. He pulled out his phone, tapped video. My heart dropped into my stomach. There we were, on the couch, me and Claire, half-dressed, arms, legs, sweat, sin, everything. He had a hidden camera. "Get the hell out of my house," he growled. I didn't argue. I backed out like I was leaving a damn war zone. Claire tried to follow, but he slammed the door shut behind me. I heard her crying, screaming, things breaking, and I never looked back. I drove for 2 hours straight. Didn't know where, just away from the street, the house, the look in that man's eyes. I felt like dirt, like worse than dirt. I'd messed with another man's wife in his home, under his roof, and now it had exploded. And it didn't stop there. The next day, my business phone was blowing up. Bad reviews, false complaints. A screenshot of the video, blurred but me and Claire obvious, started making rounds in a local Facebook group. Someone leaked it. Maybe her husband, maybe one of their friends, maybe Claire herself out of spite or shame. Doesn't matter. My name was ruined. Calls dried up. People canceled appointments. I was the pervert repairman, a home wrecker, a meme. And Claire? She never contacted me again. Just vanished like smoke. All I had left was silence, a half-dead business, and a lesson burned into my soul. Don't stick your wrench where it doesn't belong.
Weeks went by, then months. I kept thinking the chaos would die down, that maybe the neighborhood would forget, that eventually people would stop whispering when I walked into the hardware store. But they didn't. My reputation never recovered. I tried rebranding, even switched to working out of town, but the internet had already done its damage. One post, one leak, one stupid decision, and my entire career collapsed. I heard through the grapevine that Claire moved in with her sister for a while after the fallout. Some said David kicked her out. Others said she left willingly to avoid facing him. Either way, she didn't stay single long. 3 months later, she was spotted at a bar with some finance guy. A friend of a friend showed me a photo. Her, smiling, holding a martini, legs crossed like nothing in the world had ever gone wrong. Like she hadn't blown up a marriage and destroyed a man's business just because she was bored. Meanwhile, I was still picking up the pieces. Lost half my clients, couldn't pay rent on my old place, had to move in with my cousin in a crummy apartment 2 towns over. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that video. The way she looked at me, the way we thought we were safe, the way I never even noticed the damn camera. I kept wondering if she knew, if she set me up, or if she really was just selfish enough not to care who got hurt. The worst part? I missed her. Not her betrayal or the fallout or the lies, but the version of her I thought was real. The soft touches, the secret smiles, the feeling like someone actually saw me for more than just a guy with a tool belt. That illusion stuck to my ribs like tar. But eventually, even that started to fade. I picked up a few small jobs again, worked quietly, kept my head down. No more flirty clients, no more shortcuts. I learned to live with the silence, the shame, the loneliness. It became part of me. Like a scar you forget is there until someone points it out. I guess in the end, I was the fool. Thought I could fix everything. Her, the marriage, the emptiness. But some things aren't meant to be fixed. Some things are just broken. And some people, they like it that way.